I want you to take a deep breath because I know exactly how heavy your heart feels right now. You've been through a storm that nobody else sees, and you're wondering if anyone will ever acknowledge the wreckage left behind. I see you. I know the quiet tears you've shed when the lights go out and the world is silent. You aren't crazy, and you aren't alone. We're going to talk about the justice you've been waiting for today. Have you ever looked into their eyes and realized there was nobody home? It's a chilling moment when the person who claimed to love you more than life itself suddenly treats you like a complete stranger. Or worse, like an enemy they need to destroy. You've given everything, your time, your energy, your very soul, only to be discarded like a piece of trash. It feels like a betrayal of the highest order, doesn't it? You've probably spent many sleepless nights asking the universe why this happened to you. You wonder why someone so cruel seems to be moving on while you are left picking up the shattered pieces of your identity. It feels like they won. It feels like they escaped the consequences of their actions while you're the one serving a life sentence of pain. But I am here to tell you that what you see is not the whole truth. There is a specific kind of agony that comes from being treated badly by a narcissist. It isn't just a bad breakup or a toxic friendship. It is a systematic dismantling of who you are. They targeted your kindness, your empathy, and your capacity to love, and they used those beautiful traits as weapons against you. It feels profoundly unfair, almost like a spiritual violation that leaves you feeling empty and used. You might be sitting there right now, praying for some kind of sign that justice exists. You want to know if they will ever feel even a fraction of the pain they caused you. You want to know if God's revenge is real, or if it's just something people say to make themselves feel better. Believe me, the mechanics of the universe are much more precise than you think. Justice isn't coming, it has actually already begun. When a narcissist treats you that badly, they aren't just breaking a social contract. They are violating a fundamental law of human connection. They think they are clever for tricking you, for manipulating your emotions, and for getting away with their lies. But what they don't realize is that every time they hurt you, they are digging their own grave. They are building a prison of their own making, one brick of deceit at a time. Let's talk about that revenge. It isn't necessarily a lightning bolt from the sky or a sudden financial ruin. Sometimes it is, but usually it is something much more profound and far more permanent. It is the slow, agonizing realization that they are fundamentally incapable of experiencing the very things that make life worth living. They have traded their soul for a mask, and eventually, that mask is going to become too heavy to wear. You were chosen because you have a light inside you that they desperately wanted for themselves. They tried to steal it, to dim it, and to eventually extinguish it because they couldn't stand the fact that they didn't have it. But here is the secret. Light cannot be stolen. It can only be hidden. And while they are busy trying to blow out your candle, they are standing in a darkness that is becoming more absolute by the day. I want to invite you to look at this from a different perspective today. Instead of focusing on what they took from you, I want us to look at what they are left with. Because when the dust settles and the games are over, the narcissist has to live with the one person they hate more than anyone else, themselves. And that, my friend, is where the real story begins. That is where the divine balance of the universe starts to shift. Stick with me through this, because we are going to peel back the layers of their false reality. We are going to reveal the secret knowledge of what really happens when the narcissist thinks they've won. You are going to see that your survival wasn't just a coincidence, it was a victory. By the end of this, you won't be looking for revenge anymore. You'll be looking at their fate with a sense of quiet, empowered understanding. To understand the revenge, you have to understand the void. A narcissist isn't a whole person. They are a collection of mirrors reflecting back what they think people want to see. Deep inside, there is nothing but a hollow, aching emptiness that they are terrified of facing. Everything they did to you, the gaslighting, the lying, the cruelty, was a desperate attempt to fill that hole with your reaction and your energy. Think of them like a parasite that has lost its host. When they treated you so badly that you finally broke or walked away, they didn't just lose a partner, they lost their life support. They need your emotional reactions to feel real. Without you to provoke, to blame, or to belittle, they are forced to confront the silence of their own soul. And for a narcissist, that silence is the most terrifying sound in the world. It is deafening. They operate on a logic that is completely foreign to a healthy mind. To them, power is the only currency. They believe that by hurting you, they are proving their superiority. But in reality, they are just proving their dependency. A king who has to torture his subjects to feel like a king is no king at all. He is a tyrant living in constant fear of a rebellion. They are trapped in a cycle of needing what they despise. Their internal world is a chaotic mess of envy and shame. Every time they saw you smile, every time you succeeded, and every time you showed genuine love, it burned them. It reminded them of what they will never have. They didn't treat you badly because you were not enough. They treated you badly because you were too much for their fragile ego to handle. Your light was a constant reminder of their own internal shadow. Most people think narcissists are confident, but it's the exact opposite. They are the most insecure people on the planet. Their entire life is a high-stakes performance that they can never stop. Imagine having to act every single second of every day, never being able to be your true self because you're afraid the world will see how small you feel. That isn't winning. That is a psychological death sentence. It's exhausting. They view people as objects, like tools in a shed. When a tool doesn't work the way they want it to, they throw it against the wall. That's what they did to you. But here is the thing about tools. They don't have souls. You do. By treating a human being like an object, they have effectively severed their own connection to humanity. They have moved themselves into a cold, clinical world where love and warmth cannot reach them. This is the mechanical reality of their condition. They cannot learn from their mistakes because their ego won't allow them to admit they made any. So, they are doomed to repeat the same toxic patterns over and over again. They will find a new person, put on the same mask, and eventually destroy that relationship too. It's a loop of destruction that never ends, and they are the only ones who can't see the common factor. You see them on social media looking happy, but it's all staged. It's a curated gallery of lies designed to make you feel like you're missing out. Behind those photos is the same misery, the same boredom, and the same biting resentment. They are trying to convince themselves more than they are trying to convince you. It's a digital costume for a person who is spiritually naked and shivering in the cold of their own making. God's revenge isn't a spectacular event, it's the fact that they can never truly change. They are stuck in a prison where the bars are made of their own arrogance. They will never know the peace of a quiet mind or the safety of a loyal heart. They spend their lives looking over their shoulder, wondering when the world will find out who they really are. That level of paranoia is a constant, low-grade fever that never breaks. When they treated you badly, they thought they were taking your power. But what they actually did was reveal their own bankruptcy. They showed the universe that they are unworthy of the treasure they held. And when you realize that their behavior was a confession of their own inadequacy, the why becomes very clear. They were never out of your league. They were never even in your world. They were just visiting your light. There is a specific moment in this journey where the tide begins to turn, and the narcissist doesn't even see it coming. It usually starts when you stop trying to explain yourself. You stop arguing, you stop crying for their understanding, and you simply go cold. For the first time, the supply they've been draining from you vanishes. And in that silence, the power dynamic of the entire relationship shifts completely and forever. Suddenly, the narcissist realizes they can't push your buttons anymore. They try the old tricks, the guilt trips, the fake apologies, the explosive anger, but nothing works. You've become a wall of glass. They can see through you, but they can't get inside you. This is the moment they start to panic. It's a visceral, frantic kind of fear because their mirror is no longer reflecting the image they want to see of themselves. Watch how they react when they lose control. They don't handle it with grace. They become erratic. They might start a smear campaign, telling everyone who will listen that you are the crazy one. They are trying to rewrite history before the truth catches up to them. But the more they talk, the more they reveal their own desperation. People start to see the cracks in the story. The mask isn't just slipping, it is shattering. This is the turning point where you realize that their strength was actually just your willingness to tolerate their abuse. Without your compliance, they are nothing. It's like watching a movie villain realize the stage lights are being turned off. They are still shouting their lines, but the audience has already left the building. You are the audience, and you've decided the show is no longer worth the price of the ticket. The narcissist's revenge on you was meant to be your destruction, but God's revenge on them is your awakening. As you start to heal, you become something they can no longer touch. You are evolving, while they are staying exactly where they were. They are frozen in their toxic habits, unable to grow or adapt. They are like a character in a book who is stuck on the same page while you have moved on to a whole new volume. You might notice them trying to hoover you back in, pretending they've changed or that they miss you. But look closely at their eyes. There is no remorse there, only a calculated need to regain their lost territory. When you say, no, you aren't just protecting yourself, you are dealing the final blow to their ego. You are telling them that they are no longer relevant to your life. To a narcissist, irrelevance is death. There is a profound irony in the way they try to hurt you. Every lie they told about you actually ends up describing them. When they called you selfish, they were talking about themselves. When they called you crazy, they were describing their own internal chaos. As you step out of the fog, you start to see that their words were never about you at all. They were just projecting their own self-hatred onto a blank canvas. The power shift happens in the quiet moments. It's the first morning you wake up and they aren't the first thing on your mind. It's the first time you laugh without feeling a shadow of guilt. The narcissists sense this change in the atmosphere. They can feel the energetic cord being cut, and it drives them to a point of madness. They are losing their grip on the only thing that made them feel powerful, your focus. As you walk away, you aren't just leaving a person, you are leaving an illusion. You are choosing reality over the fantasy they created. And the thing about reality is that it's where the growth happens. The narcissist is left behind in the ruins of their own theater, surrounded by props and painted backdrops that mean nothing. They are the king of a wasteland, and they are starting to realize that the land is completely barren. The turning point is when you stop waiting for them to apologize and realize that their behavior was the apology. They showed you exactly who they are, and they did it with a megaphone. Once you accept that truth, the game is over. You have won simply by refusing to play. You are no longer a victim, you are a witness to their self-destruction. And now, the true consequences of their actions are about to be realized. Now we enter the stage of the collapse. This is the part of the story the narcissist never wanted you to see. When a person spends their entire life burning bridges, eventually they find themselves on a very small, very lonely island. The people they used, the friends they lied to, and the partners they discarded are all gone. The narcissist is left with a pile of bridges and no way to cross back into the warmth of connection. People often ask, do they ever get what's coming to them? The answer is that they are living it every single day. The revenge is the aging process for a narcissist. As they get older, their charm fades, their looks change, and the tricks that used to work on people start to fail. They become the bitter person that everyone avoids at parties. Their social circle shrinks until it's just them and their own toxic thoughts. Imagine the horror of being a narcissist in their final chapters. They look back on a life filled with victories that left them with nothing. No one truly loves them because they never let anyone in. Their children might be distant, their former friends are long gone, and their reputation is a patchwork of whispers and warnings. They have won every battle but lost the entire war. That is a heavy, dark kind of justice. They are haunted by the people they couldn't break, and that includes you. You are the one that got away, the one who saw through the lies and survived. In their quiet moments, your face is a reminder of their failure. They hate you for it, but they also obsess over it. They can't delete the memory of the light you carried, and it gnaws at them like a hunger that can never be satisfied. You are their greatest unfinished business. The consequence of treating someone that badly is a total loss of peace. A narcissist's mind is a battlefield where they are constantly fighting off the truth. They have to keep track of their lies, manage their different personas, and stay one step ahead of the people they've wronged. It is a life of constant high alert and zero rest. They don't know what it's like to lay their head on a pillow and feel truly safe and clean. There is also the revenge of the new supply. Eventually, the narcissist settles for someone who is just as broken as they are, or someone who is even more manipulative. They end up in a relationship that is a mirror image of the one they had with you, but without the love or the patience. They find themselves being treated exactly the way they treated you. It's a poetic, circular kind of justice that they cannot escape. They lose the ability to feel genuine joy. Everything is a transaction to them. Even a beautiful sunset or a kind gesture is calculated for how it can serve their image. When you lose the capacity for awe, you lose the essence of life. They are living in a black and white world while everyone else is in color. They are effectively ghosts in their own lives, haunting the hallways of their past mistakes and mischances. Watch how they try to fill the void with material things, or temporary thrills, or a rotating door of new faces. None of it works. The hole just gets deeper. God's revenge is allowing them to have exactly what they wanted. A world where they are the only person who matters. And once they get it, they realize that a world with only one person in it is a very cold, very terrifying place to be. It's the ultimate isolation. They will never have the one thing you are going to have, a comeback story. A narcissist doesn't recover because they don't believe they are broken. They just keep decaying. While you are doing the hard work of healing and becoming a better version of yourself, they are becoming a caricature of their worst traits. They are shrinking while you are expanding. The gap between your two lives is growing wider by the second. When they treated you badly, they thought they were making you small. But they were actually just showing how small they are. The collapse is the realization that they are irrelevant in the grand scheme of your life. You are the hero of your story, and they have been demoted to a cautionary tale. They are the before picture in your transformation. Their role in your life is over, and they have been left behind in the dark. We've walked through the darkness, and now it's time to step back into the light. This is where your healing becomes the final word in this story. The most powerful thing you can do, the most divine form of revenge, is to thrive. It's to live a life so full, so authentic, and so joyful that the narcissist's memory becomes nothing more than a faint, distant hum that you barely notice anymore. You are taking your life back. Healing isn't about forgetting what happened. It's about making sure it doesn't define your future. You are going to take the empathy they tried to use against you and turn it into your greatest strength. You are going to love again, but this time with wisdom. You are going to trust again, but this time with boundaries. Every step you take toward wholeness is a strike against the darkness they tried to pull you into. I want you to understand that you didn't lose time with them. You gained a spiritual degree in human nature. You now have eyes that can see through masks and a heart that knows its own value. That is a superpower. You have been through the fire, and you didn't just survive. You were refined. The narcissist was just the catalyst for your evolution. They were the obstacle that taught you how to fly above the storm. Think about the peace that is coming your way. Imagine a life where you don't have to walk on eggshells, where you don't have to defend your reality, and where you are celebrated for exactly who you are. That life is waiting for you. It's not a dream, it's your new reality. The narcissist tried to lock you in their basement, but they forgot that you hold the key. You've always held it. Now, it's time to use it and walk out. Forgiveness, in this context, isn't about being nice to them. It's about being kind to yourself. It's deciding that you are no longer willing to carry their baggage. You are dropping the weight of their cruelty at the door and walking away light. You don't need them to say sorry to be free. Your freedom is a choice you make every single morning. You are choosing yourself over the ghost of a person who never truly existed. When you look back at that person now, try to see them through the eyes of truth rather than the eyes of trauma. They are a small, hurt child in a grown-up's body, causing destruction because they don't know how to create. They are pitiable, not powerful. Once you see the wizard behind the curtain, the fear disappears. You realize there was never anything to be afraid of. It was all smoke and mirrors and loud noises. Reclaiming your narrative is the ultimate act of defiance. You get to decide what this story means. It's not the story of the person who was abused. It's the story of the person who discovered their own infinite worth. You are the author now. You are holding the pen, and the next chapters are going to be beautiful. You are going to fill them with color and laughter, and people who actually deserve your beautiful heart. There is a divine protection over those who have been through the valley of the shadow of death. You have a resilience now that cannot be broken. You have a groundedness that can't be shaken. The narcissist thought they were destroying a flower, but they were actually planting a seed. And that seed is about to bloom into something so magnificent that it will dwarf everything that came before it. You are rising. God's revenge isn't about hurting them, it's about restoring you. It's about taking everything they tried to steal, your joy, your peace, your identity, and giving it back to you tenfold. It's about watching you walk into a sunset they will never see, with a heart they will never understand. You are the miracle in this story. Your survival is the proof that light always, inevitably, wins over the dark. You are free. So let them go. Let them stay in their prison of one. You have a world to explore and a soul to nourish. The justice you were looking for isn't something you wait for, it's something you live. Every breath of peace you take is your victory. Every smile you share is your revenge. And as you walk away, remember this one final truth. The greatest revenge against a narcissist is to live a life so beautiful they are no longer in it. I want you to take a deep breath because I know exactly how heavy your heart feels right now. You've been through a storm that nobody else sees, and you're wondering if anyone will ever acknowledge the wreckage left behind. I see you. I know the quiet tears you've shed when the lights go out and the world is silent. You aren't crazy, and you aren't alone. We're going to talk about the justice you've been waiting for today. Have you ever looked into their eyes and realized there was nobody home? It's a chilling moment when the person who claimed to love you more than life itself suddenly treats you like a complete stranger. Or worse, like an enemy they need to destroy. You've given everything, your time, your energy, your very soul, only to be discarded like a piece of trash. It feels like a betrayal of the highest order, doesn't it?